All right, you guys, I had to go get my glasses. And before I forget, because I need my glasses and I'm squinting, I had a dream 2 nights ago, and all I remember, and I need to start writing down my dreams again and my visions. I've had a couple open visions, and I can't tell you. Maybe I'll do another video on it, what I think they are. Um, all I remember is me and my son were seated at this table, and there was this bucket of meat, hot meat. I know it was like a variety of meat. Like, I know it was different chunks of lamb and, you know, beef, and it was hot, and it was for us to take home. I knew this had to be, if you had to put a price tag on it, this thing had to be worth, just a different variety of meats. Um, and I felt like the cuts were expensive cuts, and just it was just two big buckets of meat that I knew that we were going to take home. Ironically, it was clear. It was kind of like a big KFC bucket, but it was like a clear with a lid on top. And I knew it was for us. So me and my son sat down at like this table at some restaurant, and we were going to pick up this meat to take home. And it was kind of like awarded to my son because it's something that he did. And we didn't have to pay for it. So there was this little piece of paper that we used to redeem for the meat. And I knew this little piece of paper, when the waitress came up, I slipped her like the piece of paper, like verifying that these two big containers of meat were for us. And my son sat there calmly, and, because he was waiting patiently too. And the waitress looked at it. Some little, girl came, not girl, but some little girl, I call her a little girl. She came up there, and she took the piece of paper, and she was squinting at it like this. And she said, "Oh, paid in full. Yeah, this is yours." It was almost like she wanted to take that away from us. So the little paper said "paid in full," and you guys, so I was just thinking, like, what this? I mean, aside from Jesus paid it all, the blood covers it all. Um, and this big bucket of meat, it was just the weirdest thing. Um, so a few days went, well, 2 days went by, and yesterday, Saturday, my boss gave me my printout for the day of how much money I made, and I barely looked at the paper, and I said, "No, this is not right. Like these numbers don't. I could partially see that it didn't look right." So I took the piece of paper. I was squinting. I was looking. And I was like, "No, this is not right." So she had to reprint a piece of paper that was missing an appointment, um, to give me the full balance of what I made, um, that day, and I asked her for one for the day before. So I don't know. The message was more, meant more to me. The fact that my son was in that dream, sometimes I worry about him, but I know God's got him. He's 14. He's going through a little, like the old folks say, he's smelling his musk. Um, but he's a good kid, and I know that he loves God, and God's got him. Okay, the word says that our whole household should be saved. Okay, I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to share it with you. Paid in full. Okay, you guys. Um, Next, I didn't want this video to be about that, but I'm gonna keep this second part short. This is part two to the dream that I had on March 12th night, or March 13th morning, when I went back to look for Cher's video, because she talked about what I believe this dream was mostly about. Okay, and it was about the letter written to the Laodiceans, uh, Laodiceans, the church of Laodicea, Revelation 3. Okay, you guys? Um, what's the scripture? Revelation 3:14. And unto the angel of the church of the Laodiceans write, These things saith these things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of God. I know thy works, that thou art neither hot, cold, nor hot. I would thou work, I wish, I would thou work cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Because thou hast said, I am rich and increase with goods, I have needing of nothing, and knoweth not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. Um, the dream was, and there's a couple things that happen in real life, but the dream was, I, for whatever reason, was at my husband's house. Like, we're separated. So I, for whatever reason, was at his house. And in real life, his parents are there. And in real life, the house has 4 bedrooms. Um, so and in real life, his parents are driving him crazy. I could see it all over his face. He thought it was a good idea to move his parents in. So I thought it was a good idea to move out. And it's driving him crazy. They're wearing him out. So in the dream, I went over there, and he was asking me if I wanted to move in, like move back in. And I was kind of thinking, like, I don't know. And for some reason, I started inspecting the house, and I didn't see his parents. I don't know what happened to his parents. I don't know if they moved back, like in the stream. I don't know where they were. But I knew they weren't like around anymore. And in this house, there are 4 bedrooms. I went to inspecting 3 of the 4 bedrooms, because I knew that 3 of the 4 bedrooms they had access to, either to store stuff, or like a kickback room, or bedroom, whatever. I knew they had access to these rooms. Every room that I went to had a shallow pool of water on all the beds. And I'm thinking, water then came down from somewhere and is pooling in this particular bed, in these beds. Like every room that your parents been in, the bed is a hot mess because it's soggy and it's got water on the beds. And I'm thinking, can't nobody even come sleep in these beds because they got water? Like, what's going on? There's water in the beds. So somebody comes, my deacon in the dream comes, and he's like, it's okay. You can go. It's not that big of a deal. I'm thinking it's not that big of a deal. I'm thinking he want me to stay here. And the bed's got water in it. Who gonna sleep in a soggy, uncomfortable bed? So I said, no, I was still thinking about, the proposition, and the proposal, and proposition, whatever. And I start ripping up the beds. I was like, somebody gonna sleep in here. Ain't nobody about to sit here and sleep on a wet bed. What kind of mess is that? And then by the end of the dream, I was like, nah, I'm not, I can't. No, I could and not pay my rent in my new place. But no, I was thinking this in the dream. But I was like, I could save this rent money and move back. And I was like, nah, he gonna have to tough it out. I don't know what he got going on. Every room that his parents done touched got soggy beds, a little shallow pool of water in the beds. Even though I ripped up the beds, as I was still considering it, ripped up the sheets off the bed. In the end of the dream, I decided not to. So Sherry, I was catching up on people's videos. I hadn't been on YouTube, and I don't know if she made. I think she made that video that day on March 13th. Um, she did a video on the lukewarm and the Laodiceans and being cold and being hot and being lukewarm. You guys, I don't want to take away from. I don't want to add to. We had already discussed this on the phone. This is the first time that she's made a video about it. I think it's timely. I think it's going to give a clear understanding of that particular verse. And she does it in 7 minutes. I want you guys to watch that particular video. And you might get a little indication of why I might have been ripping up the sheets, um, you know, in this particular dream. Nobody wants to sit in no soggy, wet, could have been cold, could have been, a soggy bed, okay? Um, I didn't get an indication of the temperature, but who wants to sleep on wet sheets? Um, and my deacon in that dream represents the church to me, someone in the church. Um, in real life, he's a real stickler. He's ex-military. He don't play no games. He takes God seriously. So I wasn't, I don't think that had anything to do with him. But I think he represented the church, with him trying to say, hey, maybe, no. I'm thinking, no, anybody sleeping in a wet bed. And finally, in actual life, I did. Saturday, two things. My son said that his dad's shower was broken. I assume it had some type of leak. Um, this is 5 days after the dream. And I assume that something might have happened with his parents, fooling around with all the stuff that they're not used to. They come from a different country, so, you know, it's different. Even the materials are different in the houses, okay, you guys? And also, I did a body scrub on a lady, and for her not to be uncomfortable, after I did a scrub on one side of her body, before I had her flip over, I put a different sheet on there so she's not laying in the sugar. I should say it was a sugar scrub, laying in the sugar, being uncomfortable. Um, and I turned the table up really hot. Can't have no cold table while you're giving somebody a sugar scrub and using wet towels on them because their body temperature, you do have to remove the towels and they'll become cold. So, just little key things that the Lord was sharing, giving, revelation on. I'm so glad that Sherry finally did that video. She said she was going to do that video months ago. It's 7 minutes. It's a perfect explanation to hot, cold, and lukewarm. I want you guys to watch it. I'm going to leave it below. Don't want to ramble on, okay, you guys? That's Revelation 3, the Church of Laodicea, the final church letter, and I think the harshest church letter, okay? God bless y'all and have a good day.